swearing off. I guess we never really did discuss whether or not we were going to swear on this or what we were going to do. But
I think it should just go wherever it leads us, because it could get fairly explicit, I suppose. And then we might have a drinking podcast.
Let's mix it up. A funny thing happened on the way to the podcast, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Did it? Cheers. Oh, all the time.
Interesting. We do have reference audio. We have the H4n set up just for comparison, but now we have our own little Audio-Technica mics. It's nice.
We look like podcasters. I can be like, what are you talking about?
I'm going to cringe a lot if you keep moving the arm. Ooh. Okay, so sounds good to me. I'm just going to unplug this and let the magic happen.
Let the magic happen. I do have to say that if there's no other benefit of doing this podcast, this is very interesting. It will end up being the year of the many looks of Jesse and Eric. Ooh, doobie 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 doo. Last week you had long curly hair and beard stubble.
I guess this is the one where I have short hair.
This week you look like a convict.
Or somebody fresh out of the infantry or something.
I'm freshly shaved. I got a haircut, so we're looking stylish.
Justin should come on the podcast because he is the most dramatic change of all.
That's true.
He's gone beardless after
He's not going to keep
a
it like
decade.
that. Perhaps we should knock on his door and have him wave.
Maybe at the end of the podcast.
That works. He'll probably come out at some point.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, slightly different setup. Welcome to my humble abode.
We are in your apartment currently.
Yeah, I did. As soon as I saw this island, I got thinking it's good for conversation. I talk. It's great.
Almost as good as being on an actual island and doing the podcast.
That
Not quite
would
there,
be
though.
great too.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing, I guess, the difference in now we have like podcasting style microphones. I think the audio difference is going to be the thing that I'm most interested in because
The lights will help. We do look good.
The lights are fantastic. We now have a real
like pretty good.
Yeah, like a real lighting setup.
I told Justin I'm not waiting for Tila's short film. I want to film something short with Justin as an actor just to make a creative lighting decision. Do that. Trying to come up with a very short 3-minute or 5-minute script just to shoot it, just to do it.
Okay.
Just
That sounds like an interesting way to put the gear to use very quickly.
put it to use, see what it can do.
It's interesting that a lot of the industry, at least on the more prosumer end, is switching just to these LED panels. Because before we were using just like the little fluorescent bulbs, you could buy the kits on eBay and Amazon for like $100 to $200 with a bunch of stands, and you plug in like 4 fluorescent tubes. And they're kind of a pain in the arse because you tend to knock them over and smash glass fluorescent tubes everywhere, and they're just difficult to transport. They're a pain. This stuff is great. Easy to transport, very
Nice
bright.
case.
Yeah. Option to plug in or go wireless and have just run them on batteries.
It's bad when you stare at it for a second. Other than that,
Yeah, they're really bright.
they are incredibly bright. Yeah, the fluorescent bulbs, not that anybody cares. I bought them because they were there. I didn't really need them. It's one of the I don't know if it's depressing. I don't know what you would call it, but there's been times where I think as a person who uses equipment as a job, you buy things and hopefully you buy them for the actual purpose of using them.
Yes.
Those lights I bought because I was out of film school, wasn't happy, just had my back surgery, like I need something, but I didn't use them. I used them a little bit.
We got quite a bit of use out of them, at least from the time that I was around.
But they've been around. They were around for 4 years before you popped around. 3 years, and most of the time I didn't use it. That being said, the person I was with said, "You're never going to use them," and she's right. I didn't, because she wasn't, supportive of the creative edge until she was. But no, sometimes I worry like, hey, should we have bought these lights? Yes, we're
going to be using them every
lights
single
were
week.
A sensible thing. Yeah. Hell, they can be used on almost everything. I'd bring that bag to weddings and set one up to light speeches.
Yep, absolutely.
Battery powered lights, done.
Mm-hmm. They're not the kind that we really want to mount on our cameras as much.
No,
but they're
now we have these light stands that are solid. It's going to change everything. It's going to make things look a lot better. And that's great. And the microphones, yeah, okay, not necessarily warranted, but this is episode 25. Where
it's time to have real mics almost.
Yeah.
And I would say the potential for these to be used as boom mics. Do you really see any use case for that? Because I don't know. The direction at which they record things is not really the most useful for like a forward-facing direction. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, possibly, but also at the same time, the idea of having to record audio for a commercial, like I remember
voiceover, yeah,
this is perfect.
Yes, they are,
because I remember having to set it up, and my father would be standing by the mic stand with the H4n to do his AutoSpa Plus commercial. And then there's tweaks, but these will just sound so much better. And then if we decide, or we actually get a permanent place eventually where we can actually soundproof it, like
that's one thing you'll notice. There's definitely echo in this place, but I mean, what do you expect when you have steel framing, a bunch of just drywall with hard objects placed on it, and I don't know if that's like a stone roof. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Never figured out exactly what it is.
I don't know what. I should go touch it to see what material it is at some point.
I want to touch it.
Yeah. I don't think it's stucco. That's for sure.
The lights are warranted and the microphones are warranted. This is good. And when you think about it, soundproofing, a lot of people use foam. Foam isn't exactly that hard to acquire.
Absolutely. No, definitely not.
So I think our cost at this point is done. We spent the money here.
See, it's the location. Everybody wants to have, like, even photographers and all that stuff want to have like a studio where they can just have the space. And you really need that for soundproofing. So you don't want to put it down and put it back up and all that stuff. You need to be able to just line the walls with your foam, and if you wanted to use blankets because you're going on a budget or something, just have them set up off camera in places that are going to stop the sound from reverberating. There's a lot of that. And I'd like to get to the point eventually, at least, to have a studio. It'd be nice to just build in the backyard or something where you have like a shed that you build to be big enough to be a studio.
Well, that recording studio for Road Waves that we went to, that's a high-end shed studio, but it doesn't have to be that high-end.
The building itself isn't really super high-end. It's just the equipment inside, I would say, is what makes it
Well, the building is totally soundproofed properly, so that means that in the construction of the building,
But I would want to do that if I did it. It's not really that much of a costly feature to do it as you go, I don't think.
So, no, it's interesting. There's lots of positives. There's lots of potential changes that will be coming up. Not necessarily, I mean, with this, just with everything in general.
Tila and I are looking for houses still. I mean, we've talked about that before on the podcast. A lot of them seem to have at least the ones we like, seem to have big backyards, and a lot of times they'll have tons of sheds and stuff like that already built.
So that's good.
I could see that being something very easy. And then I'd like to just build my own too. Oh, wait. I have other things. Okay, I don't know if we mentioned this in the podcast, but we've had an interesting string of events where I bought jumper cables for my car a long time ago because I had a Chevy Impala. The battery died in it. It just got old or whatever. So I used those. I think it was yours that died first, actually.
Yeah,
So for your Ford Fusion,
you
your
brought jumper cables that I ended up
I sold Jesse the jumper cables because he needed them, and it's because his battery was dying and whatever. It took a while, then we got a battery or whatever, a battery or something, and put it in your car. And then I think I got them back at some point, or like I borrowed them from you.
Like a month ago, you paid $5 for it.
No. Way before that, though, because I had a situation where my Impala battery died back then. And I used them for something back then, and then I had to charge it up with a battery charger, and it didn't work. I had to buy a new battery, whatever. Then you got them back at some point.
I don't know why. Maybe just because they were mine at that point.
I think I had borrowed them. And then more recently, I bought them off you because in my Ford Fusion, my hybrid Ford Fusion, the battery died, which I'm like just getting kind of annoyed, but whatever. I mean, I just got the car, so I guess
that's the annoying part.
The battery hadn't been changed, and that's fine. That's something you have to keep up with. So fine, I got them back from you.
And it's a pretty simple fix.
Oh yeah, I had to buy a battery. It was a bit of a pain because it was a special battery. It's smaller than the regular
You had to get it right from Ford.
Yeah, they did not have it at CarQuest or anywhere else, really.
Was Ford good to deal with?
Oh, easy. No problem. It took them a long time to get it in, though. It took them like a week. But anyways, so I had the cables. The cables have now migrated to Tila because her Pontiac G5 had its battery die sitting in the driveway, nothing in particular. Charged it up, got it to work for the day or whatever, and I told her, yep, that's not going to start in the morning. And sure enough, it didn't. So today we went out and bought her a battery for her car. Lead acid batteries, they're good for 5 or 6 years, depending on how you use them. But they just all go at the same time when you have a bunch of cars for some reason. I guess we all have cars of a similar age.
Right, because yours now 2010,
yep,
right?
2010. Her car's a 2007.
2007. Mine is 2007.
Yeah.
Huh, that's true. That's something.
And my Impala was a 2005.
Okay. So within 5 years of...
And it probably already had one battery replacement before I got the car. I wouldn't doubt it.
New future, new changes. If there is a new change that gets me to have to commute to Toronto on a more frequent basis for work, I'm not even going to wait for my car to die. I'm going to get a nicer, so if I'm going to be spending more time in Toronto, I want something that I can enjoy.
You still think you're going to donate it for the kidney car stuff? Because you could get a decent amount of money for it if you don't wait for it to die.
Yeah, that's where that'll be a difference. If I do just end up not waiting for it to die, then I will probably sell it.
And then you have money to make a charitable contribution to a kidney foundation of your choice anyways.
Plus, it was just... I mean, there's other charities that do that sort of thing. The car thing, I was just picking the Kidney Foundation.
Well, yeah, it makes sense in your situation.
But what I donate from them, or what I donate to them, the car would be a negligible amount anyways. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So what do you think for a car then? Because you're talking about you want something with fold down seats and something bigger. You think you could find use for that?
I think I do. I think instead of going the trailer route for now, because that's a separate expense at some point. Storage is an issue. I mean, in your trunk, because the fact that it's
small.
it's a
hybrid.
There's very little trunk space. I have decent trunk space, and I take it for granted that. Yeah, I have decent trunk space, but I feel I don't want to go minivan. I'm too young.
Nobody makes a good minivan anyways. Not anymore.
My dad swears by his minivan though. And he uses it as a multi-purpose vehicle. Yeah. Because he'll deliver e-bikes out of it.
You can do that with
occasionally deliver bodies out of it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's not. I guess that's fine.
Is it like a flat? The hearse is usually the flashy imagery of like, oh, it's a Cadillac.
But you know what? A black minivan doing it. I mean, he's.
You know what? The Chrysler version of the Dodge, the Caravan or whatever, the Pacifica or whatever, looks like a hearse a little bit.
And he's doing the funeral work during the non-flashy part. Right, he's doing it before the funeral, so a minivan makes sense. Mm-hmm. But no, just something with fold-down seats, so that way if we do have to move a light box that's like a
like an SUV space. Then.
Yeah,
there's lots of good choices of SUVs. That seems to be what everybody wants to buy and make at this point in time. Ford's
I'm definitely going to feel younger in a sense. People tend to call, especially the way that our car looks. The way, yours included, a lot of people call it an old person car. That's what I get. Mine, the fact that it's tan, it definitely goes on the...
It doesn't help. It's the bigger sedans that tend, and they're more expensive too than like because you would see lots of young people like a Fiesta or a Focus if you're talking about Ford or like a Chevy Cruze or whatever. But as soon as you go up to like the bigger like the Impala and then the Fusion and the Taurus and like these ones, you kind of... a lot of older people buying them. Maybe.
I like the Fusion though. I was talking to my mechanic's secretary. It's not secretary, assistant, secretary.
Do they work at the front desk?
Secretary.
Yeah, secretary.
And I was asking her because at some point I'm going to have to upgrade. And I said something like a Fiesta. Fiestas are incredibly affordable.
They're more expensive than the Focus now.
Okay, well, the Fiesta and the Focus, like the low-end Fords, affordable. And I asked her, I said, like, do a lot of people, is there a lot of issues with the Fiestas? And he said, you 100% with cars. Yeah. There is definitely a peak where you do get what you pay for.
Yes.
And that makes sense. Like a Fiesta, low cost entry, but you may have issues.
But there's a lot of cars, especially American-made cars, that have these same kind of issues for a long series of time. I'm thinking mostly like the history of Chevy and stuff just got kept up with so many parts. When I had my Impala, it was ridiculous. Although this Ford's not really being any better, but I'm buying a car that I just was left in a certain state, and now I have to bring it back to whatever it was supposed to be to begin with.
Now, do you think... What's your opinion on we're obviously at a point where buying used cars is the way that we've been for a while.
So much more cost effective.
Do you think there's merit in buying not necessarily brand new, but do you think there's merit in buying just a few years old? Like
Not from a dealer.
Not from a dealer.
If you're going to buy it privately, sure, but then you have to worry about financing that. If you have liquid assets, you have cash, easier I would say. If you have $15,000 to drop on a used vehicle or something, which is good. Because used vehicle financing sucks, and dealers just upcharge the hell out of things. I like buying used cars, and I like it from private sales because you get the best deal. You're looking at typically older cars, and you have to know what you're looking for, but there's the reward from doing it is so much greater, in my opinion. And buying new cars is almost... It makes sense as a business decision in many ways, especially if you're leasing or something like that, and you can write more of it off and...
Problem with leasing is the amount of kilometers that go with a lease is so either I drive a lot or is so low, and then at least the standard leases that they advertise.
You can pick different amounts of, and it doesn't matter because if you plan to buy them out afterwards anyways, then you've already paid into it, so it's not a big deal. I would say.
I guess I haven't really looked. I don't know. It'll be interesting when the time comes. A lot more coming, but it's weird. There's the part of me that knows that there's going to be some major life changes. There's other parts that I really do enjoy the way things are now, and I wonder if 6 months from now, if everything is going to fall into place where there can be an appropriate balance between what we're doing now and any other changes.
Is your head going to be too big to fit through the door, you think?
What do you mean?
Get an important job or something, doing some film stuff?
No, busy is the
Just
thing.
Busy? That's it? Wow. Everybody's
big.
busy. Hey, you could be big Hollywood movie star.
Yeah, big Hollywood boom op.
Boom up or either. Hey, I don't know. It's all
No,
somewhere.
that's not... It's not an ego thing. It's just doing something. I feel nowadays actually being awarded an opportunity to do something you went to school for that actually potentially pays very well is unfortunately rare.
Yeah.
So even if it doesn't work out the way I want to, there's absolutely no reason why I can't try.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's an experience in and of itself anyways to learn new things.
So it's unfortunate that it comes at a time where I'm now locked into a year lease and stuff like that, but I wouldn't move to Toronto.
No, yeah, you were not going to move out there anyways. It doesn't really make sense.
At some point, Beamsville, maybe. Shave off 20 minutes off the drive. Beamsville's kind of nice.
Why? You could just look into getting something electric if you're gonna get a new car.
I could.
There's options out there for sure. Stuff with that way you pretty much shave off the fuel costs. Travel time is, of course, somewhat important, but I mean, 40 minutes a day.
Okay, so
probably not make it or break it.
Here's the ego boost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I make a time. I mean, I don't want to make. I mean, jokes aside,
Sure.
I'll just fly to Toronto every day. That fly GTA from the Niagara-on-the-Lake Airport, $99.
Is that really a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
$99.
$99, 15 minutes.
Well, you got it twice, so $200.
I think it is round trip.
Round trip.
I feel like it is. You know what?
Okay, so mathematically, let's work this out. If it's $99 round trip, $99 a day, if you're getting a new vehicle, you're probably going to be making a monthly payment of like $400 a month. You don't have to worry about that because you just keep your old vehicle or whatever. It gets you back and forth to the airport. You don't really need the new car. There's no point in it at that point. You're not really spending the fuel costs, and going from here to Toronto, that's like about 100 kilometers. So that's like 10 liters, let's just say 20 liters of gas a day. which is probably about $25 in gas. So you're saving that. It's probably more expensive, but it's probably a hell of a lot more convenient if you save the time, and if your time is worth money and you can work more.
Let's just see what they come in packages. No lines, no waiting, stress-free.
Subscription?
Yeah.
Really? I can see people in Niagara-on-the-Lake really using that.
A friend of mine actually does their promo. Well, not a friend, an acquaintance. Let's be friends again.
Okay.
But an acquaintance of mine actually does the promo videos for them. Oh, these are tours. I don't want tours.
No.
Oh, well,
it's a weird thing. Like, it doesn't sound like a business.
Luxury day tour. Yeah. $4.99. That's okay. This is the first page I went to anyway.
They're trying to attract tourists from Toronto. Is that what it's about?
Round trip flights from Toronto to Niagara on an 8-seat Piper Panther. Round trip ground transportation from the Niagara Airport to Two Sisters Vineyards. A 3-course luncheon in Kitchen 76 restaurant.
Here's the problem. This doesn't sound like it's for business people. It just sounds like it's for tourists, and it's going to be on their schedule, not yours. You're not going to be able to have a plane ready to go.
It's just the first page I went to.
I'm not optimistic.
Charter and Fleet. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
It sounds way too good to be true, just to be like... Because I know in New York they got like the helipad where you can just go back and forth the airport, and there's some merit to doing that for certain people. But
okay.
You found something?
Try our short hop air taxi connections. We have quite the story. It's tough to comprehend how much time we spend in traffic now. We understand the pain. I bet you this sounds a lot better now, my voiceover.
Yeah.
Our solutions are unique and tailored for the person who is tired of the long drives. We operate North America's shortest commercial flights and proudly are leading the new strategic form of transportation. Their routes are Toronto to Niagara.
Yep.
Toronto to Kitchener.
Okay.
Toronto to Barrie.
Okay.
And Toronto to Muskoka. That's new. Toronto to Muskoka flights.
That's like the cottage goers dream.
Yeah. Toronto to Niagara.
Leave like a spare car up there just parked.
Yeah, that's shit. Okay, but
you're looking at people with enough money to have spare cars at that point.
Niagara departures to Toronto. Let me book a flight. Not actually book a flight. That'd be a neat thing. Just fly to Toronto. Sunday, July 22nd. No. Tomorrow morning. I got a meeting in Toronto tomorrow morning. 10:30.
Okay.
And yeah, 10:30. $99. It is a one-way.
Okay. So then you're doubling your cost right away.
Doubling your cost. But then it's, I don't know. It's a 12-minute flight time.
Yes.
If you're that important and you live, I mean, a 12-minute flight time, that's a person who lives in St. Catharines commuting to the other side of the city. If you can be like, I work in Toronto, I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, you drive there every day? No, I fly. It takes me 12 minutes to get to the office. 20 with the car and at the Toronto airport.
It has me wondering two things. Let's just say you don't really care how you get there, you just want to get there. What would be the cost of having a very small one-person boat? Fuel costs, I imagine, because boats cost a lot in fuel, would they be less than $100 a day to get back and forth?
Boat fuel is expensive.
It is. Having a boat, not necessarily if it's a very small vessel, but
what was it at the
cost of at the pump?
Was it $1.60?
Yeah, $1.60 for gas.
And
that's just because they can screw you over, though.
Yeah, because those boat tanks are huge.
Yeah. Oh, they're huge. But a small little fishing vessel, I mean, you can't suck that much fuel back. It's just a tiny one-person boat.
No.
Yeah. And you could travel with as much luggage as you want, pretty much.
It's true.
I don't
think
know.
I saw a TV show about that once.
Yeah. Just traveling to work on a boat.
Yeah. And I get stuck. Lots of luggage stuck on an island 3 years.
Oh, fuck. All right.
No.
It's a dated reference.
You think? 1964.
How long did it run?
Till 67. So 3 seasons.
It's not bad.
Years ago, 3 seasons equated to 100 episodes, though. Nowadays, seasons are like 20. Each season was like 33.
A lot of episodes.
100 episodes in 1978. So 10 years after, they did Rescue from Gilligan's Island, where they finally got rescued. Spoiler alert. And then even more spoiler alert, at the end of that one, they end up back on the same island, shipwrecked.
At least it's the same island. It'd be annoying if it was a different one.
Well, at the beginning, it got hurt by a hurricane, so none of their huts or anything like that were still there, so they'd have to just rebuild.
That's depressing.
So, Rescue from Gilligan's Island, they end up back on the island. Then in the second made-for-TV movie, they get rescued again for good, and then decide, you know what? We're just going to build a resort on this island so we don't have to leave. So they build a resort. And it's called The Castaways on Gilligan's Island. And it's the misadventures of the castaways. And then the third one, same island, same resort, the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island.
Why? I guess they were really relevant back then, but
I don't know.
it's strange.
The Harlem Globetrotters have to play a game of basketball versus basketball playing robots. It went a little far from the source material, and the source material was wacky to begin with.
As a kid, I remember like the Harlem Globetrotters would make like appearances in kids' cartoons.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Scooby-Doo.
I never understood that.
Hey, Scoob, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters, man.
That's funny.
No, that's that. Harlem Globetrotters. Who else? There was weird celebrities. Scooby-Doo was weird for celebrities. They'd bring on, especially in the later versions of the show, they'd bring on animated celebrity, like guests of the week or whatever.
I'm trying to think of what they were, because I did watch a lot of Scooby-Doo as a kid, but I can't really recall any right now.
I think the original show didn't have guests. Original show would have been 60s or 70s. That's fun. Scooby-Doo, I don't know. I have a soft spot for Scooby-Doo, for the Flintstones. I grew up watching
Flintstones
that.
are good.
Flintstones great. And the live-action Flintstones movies, for the most part, are quite good, too. They're very, very similar to the source material.
I've seen, the only one that I recall is the one about stealing the necklace in the casinos and shit.
Oh, so you saw the sequel. You didn't see the original.
What's the original about?
It's called the Flintstones.
Yeah.
And it's basically, it is just a longer...
It's about
how Fred
met...
No, the Viva Rock Vegas.
Yes.
The sequel. That's about how Fred and Wilma met.
Yes.
Kind of neat how at first he meets Betty. That was a neat... You expect him to date Wilma, but then his first date's actually with Betty, and it goes horribly. But the original Flintstones, it's been a while. It's set basically in the timeline of the TV show, slightly before. It deals with Barney and Betty adopting Bam Bam, which I didn't realize back then. Flintstones was a big deal. It was the first TV show to ever show a couple in bed together.
Yeah, I think I've heard that little fact.
I throw that factoid out all the time. It was his first TV show to show a woman go to full-term pregnancy, from being not pregnant to pregnant. Wilma Flintstone.
It's interestingly controversial.
Full-term animated pregnancy. Right. And it also dealt with some things like Barney and Betty not being able to conceive. I don't know how they did it. I haven't watched the entire series, but I kind of want to buy the entire series set to go through it.
As an adult, it'd be very different to watch.
Yeah, but Barney and Betty couldn't have kids, so they had to adopt Bam Bam.
Yep.
So the movie basically opens with Wilma getting pissed at Fred because she's like, I went to the bank. And they're like, what'd you spend the money on? And he's trying, well, I spent it stupidly. And then she finds out that he actually lent the money to Barney so he can go...
Buy a ring.
No, adopt.
No, adopt
Bam Bam, because they found out they couldn't... There is a plot in the original TV show. There's an episode where Fred loans Barney some money to get a ring.
Yeah, okay, that's... I vaguely remember a bunch of the themes of the episodes, but I don't...
And then
it's been so long.
Fred becomes the CEO of his construction company.
Yep.
Through a mass scandal, Halle Berry is in it. It's good. People didn't like it, but it's very much like the cartoon.
Did it?
It did really well, but critics were like, it's cartoony, but what do you want?
Did the Jetsons ever get a live action?
No.
Yeah.
But Hanna-Barbera, the animation company,
yeah.
and I guess now the production studio. Flintstones is really weird. They do a lot of weird... There's a WWE SmackDown Flintstones edition.
Okay.
That came out a little while ago. Hanna-Barbera, they've decided, and I heard news, but I haven't heard anything recent, that they're going to do their own Hanna-Barbera universe. Like, the Flintstones and the Jetsons existed together. There was a cartoon. It was a great made-for-TV movie. It might have even been a theatrically released movie called The Flintstones Meet the Jetsons. The Jetsons have a time machine. They go back in time to the Flintstones. The Flintstones accidentally send themselves back to the future. The Jetsons are left in the past. So it's a
switch. Yeah,
it's a switch. So it's kind of neat. But the Jetsons never got live action. But if they end up doing either an animated, it'd be neat if they were like, screw it, we'll just do a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe live action. See the Flintstones before.
They could do it like Marvel and just have like a million movies about, just give people like nostalgia fatigue.
Marvel does it weird, though, because you would think at this point it'd be slowing a little bit. But
no,
Ant-Man's doing really well.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the second one. Taylor made me watch the first one.
I haven't yet either.
She made me watch the first one a couple days ago.
I'm doing my... and then we have to go see Mamma Mia 2, as per Tila's request. We have to somehow find
She keeps playing stuff from the soundtrack, and I'm so sick of it.
I like ABBA. I do. They were good. ABBA's weird. They haven't performed. They all kind of got married and whatnot, and then they broke up the band, and then Mamma Mia came out, and they announced probably a few months ago that they're actually going to reunite for an album, which is neat. But they're also going to perform on stage, which they don't do anymore. And they're actually not performing on stage.
What are they doing then?
Digital avatars on stage of the younger versions of themselves.
Yeah, all right. We've tried this before, kind of, and it's still not really... It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick.
Be cool.
But I guess people were like, I want to feel young and see ABBA perform again. It will probably work.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for us to imagine how big they once were. They're still big today, but they were huge.
They were. Man, that would be a unique way that you could just exploit the hell out of being a performer, because now you can do concerts in places across the world at the same time. Yeah. With all these digital performances.
Like when they, not exactly the same, but when they broadcast the final concert at the Meridian Center. Tila went, but I'm blanking. I feel so stupid.
The final concert.
The final concert. I'm getting just a blurry brain. This is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Bob Cajun.
Oh, the Tragically Hip?
Fuck, yeah. I don't know why that was blocked out of my head. Because they performed their final concert, and the Meridian Center did their free or cheap showing. So, I mean, that's not necessarily the same, but you're getting a bunch of people in a space to watch a
concert that's happening somewhere else. Yes. Yeah. That was pretty unique, yeah.
Did you go to that? Or was
no,
it just...
I didn't.
I didn't. I
wish I did.
I watched it here.
Yeah.
Not well.
I was
70 feet that way.
I was at my parents' house, so I watched it on TV there. But it sounds really cool. I guess I just didn't really know about it being at the Meridian Center.
Tila said it was weird because there were people taking pictures there.
Of the screen.
And then whoever she went with, she said, and I have to be very careful.
She went with Emily.
Oh, did she?
I think.
I have to be very careful because apparently I get my facts wrong and then Tila takes offense, so I apologize. Sometimes the facts get blurry. She had said that somebody was saying, like, why aren't you taking photos? She's like, what's the purpose in taking photos of a screen? It'd be different if he was performing right there. And he did, the Hip did perform there, I think. Was that, I can't remember who did.
They only did one final concert.
No, before the final concert.
They had a concert at the Meridian Center?
I feel like they did.
I didn't know about it.
if we have a bigger space now, I should probably hook up a laptop at some point for quick Googling instead of using my
having
phone.
stuff flash on the screen. It'd be great.
St. Catherine's. Let me see.
Doing it.
Yeah, in 2015, they did perform in St. Catherine's at the Meridian Center. So I was right.
It's pretty neat.
That they were one of the opening of the Meridian Center acts. They were like, "Hey, it's the Meridian Center, St. Catherine's," so they got the hip.
That'd be a pretty cool act. I'm having fun with the lights.
No, the lights are really neat, and I don't know. With the lights, with the microphones, with everything, there's a real creative surge, and I realized, because it's always intrigued me, that Adobe Premiere is just like, sure, if you start your project in a 5.1 channel, you can edit in surround sound. Final Cut, you had to do, it was weird with Final Cut. It wasn't a simple process. But now you're telling me that even if nobody but me notices that it's edited in 5.1, and if you put it on speakers and something happens over there, you can hear it. I love that.
How did you record in 5.1 the one time you did it?
I didn't.
You didn't? You just mastered it to have different effects, different sounds? And
I haven't recorded anything. I just found out that you can. I haven't done anything.
Didn't in your vlog you make the sounds of things spatially mapped out? Like noises that were added afterwards?
Yeah, but I just did it based on a 2-speaker setup. So left channel or right channel, left channel.
Oh.
So the first light pops on, and then centered. Still very effective even with crappy
I thought
speakers.
you did it in 5.1. That's
fine. I'll go re-edit it.
But how are you going to record stuff in 5.1?
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
So,
like it's easy to do effects if you have some kind of like sound and you want to map it, like the lights coming on, like, and you could map it to all these different.
That's
spaces.
basically the only thing
But
I'd be
recording
able to do.
with sound, you're going to need more microphones. I don't know if you need. I think you would need at least 3 or 4 microphones to record 5 channels ish, because they could have a left. Well, no, there's 2. You could have a left and right for each. So with 2 microphones, you have binaural audio, but also you have 4 potential directions. I don't know. It's weird mathematics. I've never looked up how they do that when they actually record movies. And in fact, I still have no idea because a lot of the stuff's voiceovers and there's a lot of other work that goes into it. So yeah, I have no idea how you would record 5 channels.
I feel...
Well, it's not even really 5 channels because one of them is a center point. So you have 2 behind, 2 in front, but then a center.
Yeah, but if you're doing... Okay, if we're doing... let's say this was a movie. And we're talking at a diner.
Yeah.
Okay? And the camera's kind of... It's a 2-shot. So the camera's there, and we're talking. The mix later, our conversation can be a track that is placed in that speaker because we're talking right there. But then when you hear a waitress go in front of the camera as we're talking, that could go from the one that's between your crotch and that one. So there's ways of... That's what I just want to try. I want to do something. You, of all people, should appreciate that because you're into the sound stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to goof around, like, I don't know, throw something. I don't know. It excites me.
We'll come up with the use for it.
In the short film, we should find a way to implement 5.1 editing.
Sure. I'd be down.
Because, I mean, even in the sound, story-wise, cameras here again, like it's a movie. If somebody comes through the door, realistically, that's coming through that speaker.
Yes, and the sound's going to be recorded separate for that thing anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not so bad.
There's ways to do it. I don't know if anybody truly records in 5.1. It's mastered and edited.
They would just master each of the microphones afterwards. But it would be so much cooler if you were picking up raw audio from all the scenes at the same time. Because I know that, if someone's walking, they got like some sound effects guy remaking it or whatever in a studio somewhere.
That's called Foley.
Yeah, but if you did it all at the same time with that kind of mic setup, it would be pretty cool. I don't know if anybody does that, though.
I think the reason they don't is just so they have more control.
Yeah, you do get more control doing it after.
It's weird to watch. I think There are documentaries on Foley artists, but they're, believe it or not, the behind the scenes of sound making sometimes isn't the most riveting.
I would think so.
But in the Jurassic Park DVD, I think all the way back in the DVD, maybe even the VHS, they did have a 5-minute segment on the Foley work that they did, specifically the scene with the baby raptor in the egg and how they would break
Twigs.
No, ice cream cones, like the waffle
For the
cones
egg?
for the egg cracking. And for the skin of the raptor, they would use, I forget exactly what they would use, but they would put like fruit juice and pulp on it because the skin would be all wet and slimy and scaly. So that is neat. If you give me a 5-minute documentary on Foley from a movie, sure, I'll watch it, but I don't really want to watch a hour-long documentary on Foley.
I'd do it.
That being said, one of the best documentaries I ever watched was called This Film Is Not Yet Rated. If you want a good
The rating system for movies? Yeah, I've seen a little bit about that.
It's a fantastic
The little
movie.
things people would do to experiment what they would get flagged for and what rating they would get.
And they were talking about how the MPAA is a organization that is heavily politically controlled.
Yes.
The people that make the judgments are older, of an older demographic, and just the movie itself and how they uncover everything and how a guy and girl sex scene in one movie can be rated one way, but a guy on guy sex scene in another movie, not that it's full like sex scenes, is NC-17 right away, stuff like that. Or like they mention American Pie and how they're able to get away with a guy fucking an apple pie because it's comedic, but then you do a movie like Girls Don't Cry, where there is a fairly brutal rape scene.
That makes sense. That would be treated more seriously, I suppose.
Treated a little bit more seriously, but it's still art. There was no nudity in the rape scene.
But I got a high rating.
That's also a good movie. Tragic movie, but good movie. Yeah, lots of good documentaries out there. Netflix is great for that right now. Melissa said she just finished watching a docudrama about Hugh Hefner.
Oh.
A 10-part.
Did it come out after he died?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently it's interviews with his children, it's interviews with people that worked with him, mixed with actual acted out parts of his life. So somebody's actually playing Hugh Hefner. So it's kind of like a movie of the week type thing, but a 10-part drama, which is neat. Better Call Saul. They just announced at Comic-Con. I think it was Comic-Con.
Getting in another season?
Well, it's getting another season. It comes out in August or September, maybe October. Either one of the 3 months. Can't remember. But we're finally bridging the gap. We're going into the Breaking Bad time.
Because it's... Oh, I see. I'm going to watch Better Call Saul, I think.
You gotta start.
Just because of how much I loved Breaking Bad.
At the beginning, and it's very smart about that, because you know at some point they're going to build up to the Breaking Bad world, and they could have artistically. I thought it'd be interesting if they got to the point where Better Call Saul ends right as Walter White walks into his office in Breaking Bad.
It could,
but they're not.
It'd be more interesting.
They're not doing that.
No,
they are actually taking his situation through the Breaking Bad world, which is neat because A, you're getting fan service, but B, as you're building towards it, the first season is great, but it's like, well, we got a long way to go. Like, this is so far away, but they've just been inching closer, and we're almost there, and it's exciting.
It's cool.
That's disgusting to think that Breaking Bad has been done for 5 years.
Yeah. God, it's been a long time since
2013, September 2013.
Holy crap. It'd be interesting too, because they could make a series about Jesse Pinkman and what happens to him afterwards.
I think we talked about this.
Probably. But it has potential really to go in that direction too after Better Call Saul's over.
That's true.
They could exploit the hell out of this for a long time to come.
They could. And if they do it well, see, that's just it. There's exploitation, there's crappy sequels, but if you say...
It's supposed to be exploitive, though.
If there's a story and you can find a way to make actual gripping television with characters that you know, then that's a good thing. And that's art.
I would agree.
There's a charity that is doing a fundraiser, obviously charity, and you can win the opportunity to go to Albuquerque and have lunch with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul and see the RV from the show and stuff like that.
I assume this is a one-time thing. They probably don't want to spend that much time in New Mexico.
No, it's a one-time thing. Yeah. It's a one-time thing, one person or a couple winners or whatever. And the video for it, it's called, the charity is Omaze. I don't know if you've heard about them. They do some very interesting things with celebrities. Like you could win an opportunity to go to the set to Jurassic World, Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. So you can actually meet like a lot of people doing it.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Isn't that just like a big green screen
Not
room?
entirely, but yes.
I think most of it would be, yeah. Maybe the inside of the ship is like partly constructed. I don't know.
But the promotional video they did, it was Aaron Paul addressing the camera. It's for charity. We'd actually probably play it.
What's up, guys? It's Aaron Paul, and I want you to come break bad with me. Yeah, bitch, you heard that right. It's been 10 years since Breaking Bad premiered, and to celebrate, I'm teaming up with Omaze to fly one winner and a friend out to cook in the RV right here on the Sony lot in Los Angeles. We're either gonna cook some meth or breakfast. But yeah, okay, yeah, well, probably breakfast. Oh, wow. It's just like I remember.
No tours, private residence.
Oh, Jesus. Right.
Aaron!
Hell, man, you scared the shit out of me.
Look at you, it's so good to see you. You look great.
What are you doing here, man?
I'm researching a role here for a, movie.
Are you living here?
Aaron, you're so funny. Of course. So what's with this? What's going on?
I'm giving away a chance to cook in the RV with me.
Wait a minute. Breaking Bad is going to be rebooted? Oh, thank God. Oh, yes. It'll be just like Roseanne without the racism.
I've moved on. You...
Yeah, moved on.
Yeah, no, there is a hot plate here.
Mm-hmm. It's an induction cooker, by the way. Yeah, science, bitch! Remember that? You remember?
You're living here.
No. Okay, yeah, right. So I'm just an actor who's broken down. Can't get over the fact that this show has been finished for 5 years, and so I'm living in an RV and using a bucket as a toilet. Yeah, whatever, Aaron.
Dude.
That was already here?
There's so much shit in there, Brian. They're actually filming us right now, Brian. Don't.
I miss the show so much.
Okay. Wow. Hey. Okay, stop. Hey, no. Oh my God. You smell worse than this bucket.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm so sorry. I can't be young and hot and rich and rolling with a bunch of friends like you.
Just stop calling me hot. It's weird.
Yeah, well, you are. You're hot.
Oh, Jesus.
And this is the RV from Breaking Bad.
Welcome to Sony Studios.
Now, if you guys just want to head that way to the studio gift shop, I'll meet you there in just 1 second. Right over there. Thank you. Aaron, what the hell are you doing? What is all this? Why aren't you leading the tour?
You work here?
No. Yeah, he does. He works here, okay? He came begging me for a job the other day because he wanted to be around the RV again. F***ing loser.
Well.
And what are you doing? Why are you... Oh, holy shit. The show ended 5 years ago. Get over it. And put on some clothes and you put on your uniform, okay?
Stu, come on, don't make me put
What?
on the...
What did you just call me? Say my name.
It's from the show.
I know. Mr. Hirschberger. You're goddamn right. Losers.
That's good.
What has he done since Breaking Bad?
He was in Godzilla.
Yeah. No, that's not a good...
No, he was in.
You think people be picking him up like crazy now? Like,
But it's been 5 years.
yeah.
He's done some other things, but nothing. That's hard. That's when you do a show like that. It can be hard to kind of fall back to grace and do other things.
Just have like a Malcolm in the Middle reboot. That'd be good.
Would you be able to take him in a humorous fashion as much now?
Yes.
Yeah, he actually...
He could get really angry.
He has a very interesting switch, because even that Omaze thing, he's acting, obviously, like a crazy lunatic, kind of like the dad from Malcolm in the Middle. But he has that weird switch where he can be... He was Walter White. He can be serious.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right. But then he also has that side of him where he can just goof around. So he's a very talented actor. And he should be used more. Not for more Breaking Bad, because that's difficult.
It's over.
But
Yeah.
can he cameo in Better Call Saul? Sure.
We probably should.
He should, 100%. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
It's gotta sound interesting. I think maybe this is a good point to wrap up for the night, because we got a lot to check this out, I guess, to see how the lighting looks and all that stuff. I'm kind of excited just to get on it.
Yeah, I no offense to Bill, and by the time this comes out, it'll already be done. But I'm more excited to work on this one than I am to edit Bill's, because this is different.
It is different.
Yeah, no, what's next week? We have to do it slightly differently because we're going to be in Toronto for the Sunday.
Yes, it's going to be a little bit different.
And after, on the way back, because we're doing... Hey, we wanted you on anyways, because we were talking about how our looks have changed,
So,
our faces have changed.
If anybody who's a longtime viewer of the show remembers our
You can just
party.
look into my camera.
This is,
I'll cut in a photo from the episode he was in and come back now. You kind of look like more eggy.
I don't like it at all.
the tan line on the forehead's not helping.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
bad.
the tan line.
I know, I got the beard tan line too. It's not good. 4 years of having a beard and then...
Are you going to keep the look?
No, the beard's coming back.
Are you going to let it go as bad as you did before? Or are you
No,
going to manage it?
I'm going to get it professionally done at a barbershop from now on.
Smart idea. How much does that cost?
$30.
Oh.
I mean, if you want something special, yeah.
Well, special, yeah, maybe.
If you just want them to trim it real quick,
yeah.
probably like
10 to 15 maybe.
15 to 20.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Hipsters are moving in on that.
Worth it.
You don't gotta do it that often.
Can you get a hipster beard? Can you do the nicely styled...
like a curled mustache?
I mean, it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
It's true.
All right.
Nice cameo.
I'm out.
So Eric Gervais signing off.
And I'm Jesse Dolster. This has been an interesting experiment, and where we're kind of now back to basics again, because next week we gotta set her up again, but every week we'll get quicker.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye. I can still see myself. We're gonna fade into darkness.